This is the one true I'm the Gamer Boss Braun.
The information rapper True Backlash.
And the First Lady of Media Blue.
Coming to you with another double feature. Today, it's going to be Fantastic Four Cross Resurrection of F Dragon Ball Z. So, what are we starting with? Fantastic Four? Alright, story, go.
Well, it's nothing new, you know. Fantastic Four, they get their powers. Oh, maybe not from Cosmic Rays this time. They get it from an alternate dimension planet. And
which I like to think is a cosmic planet.
So
full of rays.
So basically, these guys are youngins, and Reed Richards got accepted into Franklin Richards School for the Gifted. It's pretty much his daughter's there, his adopted daughter, and Franklin Richards is a black guy, so Michael B. Jordan's Johnny Storm is also black. So get over it, people. And also there is Victor Von Doom for Latveria. At least he was. Basically, there are all these smart people, and decided they were going to do this thing where they teleported to this cosmic planet and discovered for America. But then, you know, they got fed up once the suit said, "Hey, we're going to get NASA involved in this. They're going to take your credit." Ha ha ha. So the boys decided to be bad, and
they were drunk at the time.
Yeah, and Reed's longtime friend, who wants to be an astronaut and helped Reed become.
That's not the case. He didn't want to be an astronaut.
Oh, he didn't want to be an astronaut.
It was just some junkyard family.
Oh, well,
who took an interest in the Reed Richards stuff when they were kids.
I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, God. Well, then my mistake. I must have missed that part. Anyway, Ben Grimm, who was still allied to Reed Richards, similar to the comic and all his best friend, and he was brought into the Institute, and the Victor, Reed, Johnny, and Ben went to this alternate planet. The alternate planet turned them into freaks. Victor got left behind. Don't worry, that's not the last we'll see of him.
Obviously.
And Sue tried to reverse the MacGuffin and MacGuffins that they were MacGuffining, got caught in a blast trying to help them come back. They got their powers. They became the Fantastic Four, but it's not as happy as the last time. This is pretty dark. And that's how the story is set up. It's more realistic in tone, and it's quite sad in some places.
Of course. Alright, what's the goods? Who wants to start?
We'll start with the goods. Essentially, now, as we all know, there are always critics for every movie.
Oh, yes.
And there are always scenarios that play out well in advance of the actual release of the movie. Unfortunately, I have to say I've heard nothing but a lot of criticism about this movie.
I as well.
I'm sure every one of you have also shared in that. I actually watched an episode of EP Daily, and the two people on EP Daily actually
one was Vic.
They actually almost stuck their finger down their throat and gagged when they brought up the Fantastic Four. Now, I'm going with that in mind on to the goods. For me, I found the goods intriguing. I've seen other Fantastic Fours, as we all have. So there's a little bit of comparison that you try not to do, but you can't help it. I find that I like the twists that they put into the spin of this movie. Like, you know, Backlash said, there are some clear diversions from the original, different from the movie, different from the comic book, but you know what? They were good things. I think if people keep in mind that there's an awful lot of people that see these movies for the first time, and they don't know all the backstory, and they don't know about how it was originally intended. So given that, I think each director tries to bring something special, so you don't think that you're watching the same old movie that you normally watch, and you're not sitting there comparing one actor's performance and role to the last time you saw it. I mean, if that's what you're going to do, is to go to the movie to see the exact same movie. I mean, this isn't what you call a sequel or a prequel. It's not even an equal. It's a different movie under the same name. And loosely based under the same, genre and endpoint. But, you know, how it gets to the endpoint, it does take some turns and twists. Given all of that, I found that the scenery in the movie was great. I thought the cast was great. I thought that overall, I think, the way they chose to portray the special powers, if you will, or I don't know whether you want to call, based on this movie, if you want to consider these deformities, or however you want to look at that, or mutates from
Mutants are people born with special powers.
But mutates or
change.
or mutations.
Yeah.
You can look at it that way. But I thought that the way they handled their transition from them being in their normal state to their elevated mutated state, I thought that that was done well. I think the characters were believable in their role. I think I also enjoyed the fact that you got a chance to see some versatility in the characters and explanation for why some of the roles were the way they were. Example being, we all know that Sue and Johnny are brother and sister. So you say to yourself, well, we all know that there's a black Johnny now, and there's a black dad now, and there's a white Sue now. How's that possible? Well, they explained that in the movie, and it was done well. So there was a lot of those kind of things that I think were handled well. So with that being said, I thought the CGI pretty much was well, and I thought the characters and the cast well, and I thought I also give some credit to the way they transitioned into their altered state. Well,
I agree with a great deal what you said. I too enjoyed this different take on the Fantastic Four. It was like I told to Backlash and friend of Backlash is that this was more like the Man of Steel version of Fantastic Four. A little, definitely serious in tone, a little darker, but realistic in its way. I mean, plenty of people can balk and complain that this isn't the bombastic Fantastic Four that is ultra colorful and family friendly. And I said, since when? I mean, at most the Fantastic Four was shooting one-liners. I mean, they weren't dark and brooding like a certain Batman we know. But it's not like this movie took it to the nth degree. It was just a little darker than normal. Definitely more realistic than people actually give this movie credit for. And I'll explain more in my final thoughts, as it were.
It's certainly not the cartoon version.
That's certainly not the cartoon version, but that's the cartoon version. There's nothing wrong with the cartoon version.
Nothing wrong with it. It's just different.
Just different. Backlash.
I think the acting was pretty good in this movie. I think everyone played their role very well, and they played them very believably. It was a realistic tone, so they played it very straightforward. Let's see. I mean, the more I got around the concept of these guys as Fantastic Four, the more I liked them in the roles. They did their job. They're actors for a reason. Just like Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. He was the Spider-Man for me now. But just like
is that a yawn? Wait, what?
Whatever.
Well, to be fair, this is not a midnight movie madness, but it's pretty late.
Let's see. And it was for what it was. The story was very, very good. I don't have too much else to say about it, but that's pretty much what you got. The story and the characters. I like how they got their powers this time. People always complained about, the cosmic rays is BS. Blah, 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 blah. Well, here's a whole planet of cosmic rays. Soak it up. That's it.
I love it. That was good. That was very good. All right, anyone's got some bads?
I have bads.
Let's go.
Now, I have bads and not many. And the bads that I have, one of which Backlash stated before we even started doing the review, so I don't want to take that, but that was definitely an observation, and I hope he mentions it. If he doesn't, I'll recant. But, I found that I thought that there was some missed opportunity in plot expansion. I thought there was some, they did a good job with the first half of the movie, I think, and I think the second half of the movie, it's almost like they ran out of money, and they just wanted to hurry up and get it done. And so they did get it done, and they left out big, huge blocks of explanation for why they were doing some things.
It was a smaller movie.
It was
in a way.
Smaller movie, and because of it being a smaller movie, I think it started off trying to be a big movie. But because I think they didn't realize what they were dealing with in terms of cost, I think they dramatically scaled back on everything toward the end. So, that's the way it appeared. And, this might be a spoiler, so if you really, might want to turn away.
Spoiler.
Right. So, for me, whenever Doctor Doom or Doctor Doom.
Victor Von Doom. What did that guy say? What was his original name? Victor
Doom.
It was something stupid like Victor Schultz or something.
And he changed it to Doom.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
But, Doom decided he wanted to do what he was doing, and he wanted to pull the, whatever he wanted to pull into this big sphere. So I don't want to say too much because I don't want to screw you all up.
The climax. You'll know it when you see it.
There was absolutely, where did it all go? It was like, it was all happening, but all of a sudden, out of this whole vast entity, all that you had before you were 4 people. Now, there was no explanation as to why, where everything, you didn't even see it happening in the nether background somewhere. You just didn't see it at all. All you saw was this.
I think I could explain that, but off mic.
I will need that explanation because with that being said, I'm thinking, okay. Now I know
it was convoluted, but I can explain it.
And I think he kind of chose those guys, but still, you should see some of that going on in the background somewhere where it was just. You should have saw some comparisons between the 2 dimensions. What was going on? Is one getting bigger, one getting smaller, something.
Yeah,
but you didn't see
like a big screen.
Yeah, they didn't do any of
Man
that.
of Steel showed it.
Yes, they did. So that to me that was another. That was my second observation. First thing, I'm agreeing with what Backlash is going to say, so I don't want to say that. Second thing is there was a need to do more with the plot. I mean, I think they cut things short. They started talking. Maybe they did this in the editing floor. Maybe they did some chopping of things that they shot in the interest of whatever, and maybe they left pieces on the floor. But whatever they chose to do with their final edit really needed some more work. The idea that I think that there were some specifics toward the end that needed more development. But beyond that, those were my dislikes.
Okay. Backlash?
Well, I gotta say, first and foremost, the movie was short.
That was it.
That was the shortest movie I've seen all summer. And maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but it certainly felt like the shortest movie I've seen all summer, including Resurrection of F.
It was a short.
I mean, it's like, and there's probably a lot to do with it. I mean, there's apparently a lot of stuff going on about how Josh Trank, the director, was kind of nuts.
Now they say too that the average movies are like an hour and some 2 hours. This was an hour and 46 minutes, but I swear I think this was really short.
I don't think so because I got there early, and it started at 7:07. We got out of theater at 9. So it's not as short as you guys may think.
I know, right? But the hour and 46 minutes isn't seemingly short, but it felt short.
It felt short. Whether
short.
if it was by design or just clever editing, it's hard to say.
I'll tell you, this movie ended at 8:47. Exactly. 8:47. I'm not even talking about the critics. The credits.
We're not talking about the darn critics either.
Yeah. But, let me see. What else? I kind of thought that some of the special effects weren't all that well done. And, usually I don't complain about stuff like that, but it actually threw me out of the movie a couple times, which, it's never good to have that throw you out of the movie. They were fantastic, pun intended, but they were noticeable. And, that's not exactly the bad thing, too much. I didn't like seeing the Thing's junk, okay? The fact that this thing was naked is terrible.
I didn't like that either.
It was a stylized choice. I'll go through it.
It's
in my
like
best.
almost that they left a thing that they say you this is your life now. You have no job. Poor thing.
Poor thing indeed.
And Josh Trank only has like 2 movies to his credit, so okay.
Yeah. Who's that?
The director.
On track. Then and I gotta say this, and you know what? It's not a bad thing, but it was straightforward. There was thrills. There was action. I loved it. There was one surprise, and you didn't think you would see that coming, I guess. But other than that, there was absolutely no surprises. It was just straightforward. This happened, this, and I was expecting a little more on that point. But it's not a nitpick, but it's not that big a deal.
Alright, since we're running a little long, I will make this short for my bads, and then we can wrap it up with our ratings. Honestly, for me, this movie didn't have many errors that I can really count as an error, and I can't even say the same thing about maybe like Ant-Man, which I'll explain more later. But a few nitpicks on my side. Unfortunately, I'm not the one who was outraged that Johnny Storm was black. But I don't like it when they do that, because I want, like, if you want to make a black guy hero, make a black guy hero. Make him have his own legit story from start to beginning. Don't race wash a guy just because he's not PC enough. But that's just me. Also, it doesn't have any underwears. That's also a thing, but not too much of a big deal. Dr. Doom's mask was stupid.
Yeah, it was really stupid.
That's all I gotta say about that.
It looked like plastic. It looked like Halloween-y, actually.
Probably the worst mask I've seen for Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I don't see any real errors. I mean, on Man of Steel logic, the movie was sound, and it's not the continuity you guys grew up with. But it's a different kind of one to, like, crop up in this new wave of somewhat noir superheroes. So, rating. Who wants to go first?
You know what? I am going to give it...
Remember, the order is Platinum Pass, It's Okay, Fail, and Epic Fail.
You know what? I'm gonna cheat a little. For fans of the Fantastic Four who didn't like the universe Marvel continuity, and that's what mostly this movie's based off. For people expecting to be similar to Marvel Cinematic Universe, for people wanting to see something that will blow their mind and surprise them, it ain't coming. For you, I'm gonna say it's okay. Because if you go and see it, I don't think you'll hate it. Me, I'm entertained. I had a couple bads, admittedly, but you know what? It didn't offend me. I had a good time at the show. It's a pass.
Okay, it really does make it very difficult, because I basically am on the fence as well. I enjoyed it. I truly did, but I did think that there was an equal amount of pleasure as I can sincerely say I felt strongly about the things that I thought they could have done better. Like, I think the missing pieces of the plot for me, those pieces, that development that just needed to be done, I think that should have been a part of the director's overall scope of work, that just didn't. His maturity just showed in this making of his film. I'm sure the next time around he won't miss these details, but they did miss some points for me, so I want to give it it's okay. I gotta say though, I had no problem with a black Johnny. No problem. I liked it. Actually, it was refreshing to see that they thought enough of an actor to not have a race. Just make him an actor. And to me, those things are awesome. Can't wait for a black James Bond. But in the meantime...
James Bond's different.
Okay. In the meantime, though, I don't want to take any credit away from people who are just looking at all the negatives about the film. I think it was a really good film in the sense that I enjoyed it. And I think that it's great to take the kids and go see it. Make your own determination of what you think of the film. But for me, it's okay.
I have to give it a solid pass. And here's why. Because Fantastic Four, again, I have to say it again, is a Man of Steel continuity reality here. And the thing is that it's Marvel, and we automatically expect that this is going to be the same kind of Marvel experience we've had up to the point. Seeing the Fantastic Four as they are now is kind of a stark reality. It seems smaller, the effects don't seem as big and huge and glamorous, and even the freaking Dark World, where people say it was a blasé. That fight scene at the end where people were jumping across space, time, and reality, that was amazing. You
It
know,
was good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
compared
It
to
was very good.
compared to the final fight of the Fantastic Four, the movie, it seemed a little small and muted. But that's not the film's problem. I judge the film as it is on its own, separated from the Marvel universe, until Marvel decides to kick up the cash and get them back into the quote unquote real Marvel universe. This is not their problem. It's not even a bad thing. In many ways, it's a small cross between a bottle film where everything's very self-contained and an origin story. If this movie gets a sequel, I'll watch it, and I promise you, people, it'll be a much better, bigger experience. But
I can't agree with you. I think if they get the money out there, if Marvel embraces them, if they had that going forward, this would have been another blockbuster.
yes, it would. If
Yeah.
that would have changed things exponentially.
Yes.
Mhm.
But people were going into the film to hate it, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what they did.
I certainly hope if they do it again, they keep the same cast members. I think that would be a real good thing.
We'll see.
You
We'll
can
see.
it. I think that there might be a little bit of a trend to say because the movie doesn't do as well at the box office, it's because of the casting. And I would hate to see that be, the scapegoat here. I hope they realize it's just a money thing. Put the money thing in and give Josh a little bit more on the, director, maturity level. And I think the film with the cast it has now will do another blockbuster for Marvel.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that Susan Storr was no Jessica Alba. She was much better.
She wasn't. She was kind of like plain.
She was super plain
She was
Jane.
milquetoast plain. Like
Yeah.
nothing. Her to get an emotional rise out of her was like, but like just heat her up a little, Johnny. Give her a little flame shot. Melt that ice cube.
No, give me some music. What? Give me some music. It helps me think. And that's Susan Storm's gimmick for the whole movie.
That was all right.
Was it?
No Jessica Alba though. No. All right, let's move on to Resurrection of F. Let's go. We're getting late again. Story, go
Okay.
quickly.
So
Power up.
Okay. First and foremost, if you ever plan on watching Dragon Ball Super, spoiler alert, because they're taking those Futurama direct-to-video movies that they took, and they're gonna do it just like that. They're gonna melt those movies and make it into one season and retell them. So spoiler alert, Battle of the Gods 2, that's gonna be in Super. Spoiler alert. Okay, so it's a peaceful time on the planet Earth. Everyone is having fun and loving and hippies and loving and happiness and loving and happiness.
I think he said loving.
Yes, I know. And even Vegeta and Goku, they're doing what they love to do. And they're fighting. Them's are traded on Lord Beerus's and Whis' little upside-down pyramid land. Meanwhile, happiness and loving is also happening to Frieza. And excuse my language, people, this isn't good for him. This is his own personal hell. So, he's stuck in a, like cocoon, and he has to watch these toys and fairies and other sacred...
Spoiler.
Sacred...
Well, it's in the first part of the
Yeah.
Is it in the trailer? No.
But still, all these other things...
He described plenty of things that happened in the first movie.
But essentially, he's not liking his stay.
Yeah.
So, basically, what this leads up to is the rest of the Planetary Organization, as some groups call them, or the Frieza Army. Basically, they're sucking right now. Their forces have dwindled to a crawl. And they said, hey, let's see if we can get Lord Frieza back. Some people weren't on board with this, but they decided to do it. They go to Earth. They recruit some familiar cameo guest star help, Not Bulma, though, because they know they'll get their butts kicked when her Saiyan husband, her Saiyan friends, and a bunch of more powerful friends of hers try know that she's gone. But they recruit these guys. They hire to get the Dragon Balls. The dragon said, you sure you want to do this? He's kind of not in one piece. But don't worry, the one thing the new Frieza army figured out is how to do tech well. So they wish him back. He's a bunch of little pieces, but they have a regeneration device, and boom, Frieza's back. And instead of moving along and taking over the world again like a boss, he says, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to kill Goku now.
Because that always works for him.
So, like I said, upside down pyramid land. Goku and Vegeta are training. Frieza, not knowing this, mind you, still takes the opportunity to take the rest of his army and take over the world.
Of course.
So it's up to the rest of the guys. Gohan, who's still a very powerful Saiyan, but hasn't trained in years. And
Henpecked.
Huh?
Henpecked.
Jocko, Space Patrolman, which...
New character.
This is another spoiler. He has a manga. He's related to Dragon Ball. We'll just go with that. And a bunch of humans who usually get their butts kicked. And Piccolo, who kind of sooner gets his butt kicked.
Of course, Yamcha stay out of the fight because he's too awesome and it doesn't need to sully his hands.
Yeah. No Chaozu or Yajirobe. They're just the basics. Tien, Krillin. They had 18, but she's doing something more important. You'll see. They have to hold the line until they find out a way to contact Goku so he can get there. This sounds familiar. Saiyan Saga. Invaders from Earth wearing
Frieza Saga.
Yeah, invaders coming to Earth wearing Frieza's armor. Never heard that one before. Waiting for Goku so no one dies. So that's Resurrection of F in a nutshell. If I said more, that would be saying too much.
Good. Anyone wants to start?
Well, I'll do it. You know what? Practically everything. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, or if you're a fan of action movies or anime, you will love this movie. The colors are bright. The action is crisp. You get to see Master Roshi again, and boy, oh boy, apparently Akira Toriyama said early on in the Saiyan Saga, if he wanted to, he could have stuffed out Raditz with a blink of his eyeball. Didn't say it that way, but it's close. And he could have went toe to toe with Nappa and Vegeta, but he was old. He wanted to let his students do that. Ugh. But it also explains why he could keep up with all these minions. And he was on game. He was getting kind of tired a little later.
Well, he is old.
Yeah, but he kept point with all the other ridiculously powerful Z fighters. And Jocko's Space Patrolman. If you don't know Jocko, he's kind of a jerk, but
might as well call him Jerko.
But he can't fly on his own. But he also kept up with the Z fighters. Plus, he had a good couple of one-liners, you know. Plus, the comedy in the movie, hilarious. The comedy was just fantastic.
That's always been Dragon Ball MO. First part funny, second part action, third part screaming, mixed till done.
And you know what? Each character had their own little bit of funny. But aside from Bulma, and, you know, Bulma used to annoy me for the same thing she's doing in this movie, but it was actually funny this time. I gotta give most of the laughs. And even Frieza and his subordinates get a little bit. And Jocko too. But it's mainly Lord Beerus and Whis who provide most of the humor in this movie.
They're still some of the most powerful beings in the universe thus far. So they could be like Sandler and Waldorf and up all over the place. And what do you call this? I call this Doom Case. But they're actually funny.
Yeah, they're actually funny. It was like a long episode of Dragon Ball Z. And, you know, it was very, very good long episode of Dragon Ball Z. I think that's all I have to say. Go ahead.
Do you want to go next?
Yeah, I could go guess. Yeah, I really don't have anything to add. I mean, it was definitely got enough action and comedy for any Dragon Ball Z fan. It was definitely colorful, which I definitely enjoyed, you know. There was 3D elements, but they didn't really bother me at all. It was well placed, I think. What else? Well, yeah, maybe hyped up to play Xenoverse again. Even though I don't have any of the DLCs, I should remedy that sooner or later. But, yeah, it was very solid. I enjoyed the voice work. It was great to have Frieza back, but I'll explain a little bit about that in the bads as well. No, I'm good.
Well, I actually couldn't agree with you guys more, so I'm not going to take up an interest of time too much here because, you know, the movie was like Dragon Ball Z on the big screen. Mm-hmm. It was just so good getting in the audience, and I gotta love the fact that, you know, lately it's a sad thing to go to the movies and not see a full house, especially like on the first day of a movie.
I know, right?
You know, I'm always surprised. I walk in these movies and they're almost, you know, half full or less, which is surprising. Movies that...
Good seats for us, though.
Yeah, it's great seats for us, but, you know, in the past that would never happen. Go to the Dragon Ball Z and it was a full house. You know,
almost a full house.
We couldn't even sit together, which was an awesome thing. Now, could be part of that, maybe because it was a limited viewing, you know, and everybody really wanted to get it. And I gotta say, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even know that it was going to be at the show it wound up being at. So
you gotta pay attention.
There were a lot of people that probably missed it altogether. But for me, it was almost like getting back with old family or old friends. You know, it was like great to see what are they doing now, you know. Right. And it was really kind of cool. And for those of you who know Dragon Ball, you know, go online, check out the voice actors. They are so cool. It's just like looking at who is the voice of this person. And I gotta say, it's just neat to see these faces. And Whis,
picture to the faces.
Yeah, and Whis, the guy who's the voice of Whis, kind of looks like him a little bit in his own little way, right? Different color hair, but I can see it, right? And
Art imitates life.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I want you guys to, when you go see the movie, if you get to see it on, I don't know, in your neighborhood, maybe it's coming to you, or if you rent this thing, listen to the phone ring of Gohan. Is it Gohan's phone? Krillin's phone. Listen to the voice, the ringtone of Krillin's phone. See if you can pick up who that is.
1,000 points to see what that song is from. Here's a clue. It's another anime.
And let us know. Just, you know, drop us a line. Let us know.
Or put it in the comments.
In the comments. That'll be cool, too. But, you know, in the meantime, I loved all of that. All of that was just awesome. And, you know, everybody can't wait to see the fight scenes. And
of course.
Fight. I love it. Fight.
Alright, now for the bads. And I shall be first because I only have one legitimate one. But it's a biggie. And I can't even really say much of it because it would spoil the whole movie at the end. I will say that you guys know what a Chekhov's gun is. Backlash. Quickly explain what a Chekhov's gun is, real fast.
It's basically the principle is if you have a gun on a wall and it's mentioned in a plot, you have to shoot it. So basically, a Chekhov's gun would boil down to something that you mentioned early in the story, but it has to be used.
So when they had a Chekhov's gun in the first 5 or 10 minutes or maybe 15 of the movie, I expect, okay, this is this thing. And they got to implement it because this guy said so, and you know.
I see.
And then, like, tail end of the movie where things were, you know, looking dire, and I said, okay, guys, do it, you know, stop being foolish, you know what you got to do. All they did was, like, invent, this is not the story, but the writers did, just said, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to just have, like, these guys just win because I said so. And that's what kind of writer I am. And then they didn't do it once, but twice. And they could have said, like, there was a very credible ending there to the thread. And I would have been totally satisfied. It would have been poetic, even, because it would have deserved to went that way. And they said, nope, time travel, and then end because I said so.
Well, real quick, I'll let you finish because
I'm almost done.
Yeah, Beyonce Knowles was the greatest singer of all. Oh no, sorry, I flashed in my Kanye mode. Anyway, the first time this happened 3 times. First time I kind of get it, you know, there's no way around it. The second time, okay, I mean there was a lot of irony in that point, Plus, it kind of caught everyone off guard. The third time, you were just so close. You're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, and pretty much that's my complaint. Watch the movie, you'll understand. But let's just say is that it didn't have to go down those ways. It could have gone streamlined, quick and easy, same result, would have been perfect. But hey, life's not perfect. I still had a great time. I still had a great time. So who's next?
I'll go next. For me, I basically have two things. One is kind of in agreement with what Boss Bronze was saying. And I don't want to elaborate because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But, I agree there. I see why I think the writer did what he did. And then when we do a revisit on this, when we, can include all the spoilers, we'll certainly elaborate. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is, guys, you people out there who are having these limited viewings, you suck. You have got to allow these to have their traditional theater run. Yeah. We don't like having to track the daggone movie down in the nearest town. Yeah. And then get there, and you better get there at a certain time, because if you don't go at that time, you can't see the movie.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, the members of the Armada staff have lives.
Yeah, we got stuff to do, important things.
And in 1 week, we got like 3 movies that came out. Bam, bam, bam.
We still got to watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and something else.
That's next week, though.
Straight out of Compton.
But we saw Mission Impossible, Dragon Ball Z.
Pixels. I saw Pixels.
And we saw the one we...
Now that's 4.
Yeah, 4 movies.
Yeah, so, and our movie season ain't even done yet.
And we don't even have our staff secretary to even make all these arrangements for us.
Forget the interns.
We have to do this on our own.
They evaporated when I tried to introduce them to the Super Boson Collider. So that was embarrassing.
Next time, people, you put that movie for Dragon Ball Z in every theater for a regular run. We'll come see it.
Yeah, and don't charge us $12.50 for a limited.
Yeah.
What the heck, man?
For regular seats.
You're just gouging us for money.
Sucks.
Yeah. Backlash.
Well, I gotta tell you, it would have been. I know if you overload a movie with familiar characters or even characters you want to see, it takes away from all the characters that you have. I understand that. I was not happy to see my man Yamcha in the movie. And, it wasn't just him. Him and Chao Su were dismissed by Tien and pretty much probably abandoned and not knowing about the fight. They're saying, they're not strong enough for this. It's like, what? Crap! Like I said, Master Roshi could beat Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz back in the day, but he stopped training long ago. Yamcha and probably Chaozu are probably just as strong now, if not way stronger. You're keeping out of a battle against a couple of freaking Frieza minions. Are you serious? That could have broken up the... How many? It's like, okay, we each get 120 out of all these 1,000 soldiers each. Keep up, guys. Like maybe it wouldn't be so much if you got the other two. It's like, and then that's my personal crime. But they also left out Goten and Trunks. They said, yeah, those 2 little kids would have too much fun. And it's like, they're just some of the strongest characters in the show.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
And then in the manga, based off the movie, they said Majin Buu was a heavy sleeper. That was his excuse, which made it even more complicated when they not only did not say in the film where Majin Buu was, but they mentioned, let's get Majin Buu to help. And it's like, what? What?
Oh my God. That was crazy.
And it's like, well, I'm on my train. Not there was much he could do, but you had 18 and Videl. Where was Hercule? Where was Mr. Satan?
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't really do anything.
No, and then they did show him early in the movie, and
as a statue.
As a statue.
That counts.
So it was, he kind of made a cameo.
Yeah. And it's like
cartoon cameo.
And I'm kind of surprised that with their diversions being, their attention being diverted like that, and maybe you could make a case that later on in the fight that Jocko was protecting her. How did Bulma not get hit by any kind of fire? She was right there in the middle of the action. And she's like, her reasoning was, well, the world's in chaos yet again. I think the safest place is to be around all these strong fighters. Like, so much could go wrong.
Well, to be fair, Bulma is like one of those defining linchpins on the entire series. No matter where she is, she's always going to be around these guys where all this crap happens. So why the heck not? And plus, her lines in the movie were incredible.
So the only other thing was, I think it's like, the characters in the movie, after a while, once the climax of the movie pretty much happened, things were starting to dull down in the intense department. It wasn't as intense. It was like, well, it's not that big a deal. It's like, yeah, but I know, but still, it's like really? And all of a sudden, all that build-up just slowly waned down until the point where the inevitable happened. It kind of, the ending was kind of a shock for me, but it's like once they mentioned something, it's like, oh, well, thanks for ruining the suspense, guys.
Yeah.
So, and that's, let me see. Yamcha was kind of big for me, but I really can't say too much bads other than the very big nitpick of, this is also kind of like a bottle episode. A lot of things happen either on Whis and Bill's little island in the sky, or on that one little gorge that Frieza landed on. Although there was one scene I forgot to mention in the goods, that was awesome. But otherwise, it took place in one of those two places. Pick one.
All right, let's rate it. Let's give a rating because I'm not quite sure how long we have on this recorder.
Platinum pass for me.
All right.
They could have gave me Yamcha, but I won't be spoiled. Platinum pass.
I just got to give it a regular pass.
You're gonna be that guy.
I can't. I have to. I'm sorry.
You're gonna be that guy.
That was defining. It could have been so much better. It could have been perfect, but no. They couldn't have just done the right thing. Either both times. They could have done the right thing on both times.
We applauded at the end of the movie, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody applauded.
Yeah.
You stood up.
Yeah.
Cheered and
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
but-
guess what's in the moment, I guess, for you guys.
Yeah. It was glorious. I still had a good time, but I in good conscience. I'm a Dragon Ball Z fanboy for life, but in good conscience, I cannot give a perfect to a movie that could have done better.
Okay. Fair enough.
And thus ends our double feature review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is the one true Omni Gamer Boss Bronze.
And the informational Emperor True Backlash.
And the First Lady of Media Blue. Kamehameha!
Wolf Fang Fist!
Special Beam Cannon?
Yeah.
Rasengan?
Double Sunday!
Destructo Disc.
Tri-Beam!
Strawberry
Solar-
Sunday!
Dynamite Kick!
Dynamite Kick. Hercule Rolling Punch.
I'll turn you into candy!
Hey, Hayden Fletcher, give me your stupid energy. Yeah, Sal had his own version of the Spirit Ball. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.